happening in every capital of the Western world. New York, Washington, Toronto. There are rallies all over the world right now taking place. So we're not alone. There's millions of us. Just like there's millions of normal people in Ukraine, the whole world. I'd like to call on our Lithuanian friends. Where is she? I'm calling on the Lithuanian representative, please. Irina. Come up here.
Thank you. Okay. Slava Ukraini! Dear Ukrainian friends and supporters who came to support Ukraine, we came to say, Lithuanians with Lithuanian flags here, our boys and their ladies, we came to say that we support Ukraine. We are with you today and we will be with you in the future. Well, the main goal during Lithuanians' EU presidency was to see Ukraine signing the association treaty with Europe. You are Europeans as we are. We have the same values and we want to see you together and be united as you are today, and all the world will support you. Hands off Ukraine!
Hands off Ukraine!
Hands off Ukraine! Hands off Ukraine! Hands off Ukraine! Hands off Ukraine! Hands off Ukraine! Hands off Ukraine! Hands off Ukraine! Hands off Ukraine! Hands off Ukraine! Hands off Ukraine! Hands off Ukraine! Hands off Ukraine! Hands off Ukraine! Hands off Ukraine! Hands off Ukraine! Hands off Ukraine!
Now I will try to say some words in Ukrainian. Хай живе єдина і незалежна Україна. And God bless you. Слава Україні!
Слава! Дякуємо!
Дякуємо! Дякуємо! Дякуємо! Дякуємо! Дякуємо!
I'd like to call the Belarusian representative of the Belarusian community here in England. It's Mykolai Rachkieyer.
Дякую. Слава Україні! Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Association of Belarusians in Great Britain and the Belarusian diaspora at large, as well as, I should say, all the freedom-loving Belarusians in Belarus, I would like to express the wholehearted support to Ukraine in its struggle for democracy, its European future, and against the Kremlin's aggression. Ladies and gentlemen, I would argue that Belarusians are probably in the best position to feel and understand the problems of Ukraine. Belarusians were so much encouraged when Ukrainians managed to thwart and break the scenario imposed by Putin and his puppets in Ukraine when Yanukovych was defeated. That was a very familiar scenario for Belarus. What the Kremlin would do, they would try to exploit a local problem. Yanukovych, just like Lukashenko, was a local problem, but the Russians would try to encourage a dictatorship, to deprive the people of that country of a decision over its future. Then they would try to encourage that regime to be completely dependent on Russia, so it would have no choice to stick with Russia. And finally, there would be a pro-Russian dictatorship, like in Belarus today, when there is no free press, there are political prisoners. There is Russian Air Force stationed in Belarus today, and Belarus under Lukashenko has virtually, the nation of Belarus has no choice over its future. So Belarusians have been very hopeful about what was going on in Ukraine and very encouraged by the victory of Ukrainian democracy against Yanukovych. However, today we are completely with you again. To this current issue around Crimea and other areas, it's not about territory. It's about defeating a neo-Soviet revenge from Kremlin. It's about the future of the region. It's about the safety of the Baltic countries and Romania perhaps and Poland, just as much as it is about the European future for Belarus, for Ukraine, and it is about the European future and independence for Belarus. Ladies and gentlemen, the Nuremberg Tribunal has declared that waging a war of aggression is an international crime. Putin is an international criminal. Any action the world should take against that aggression would be an international law enforcement operation. And I think the world has an obligation to do so. Belarus is with you, and your victory will be ours as well. Slava Ukraini!
We want peace! 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 We want peace!
Our next speaker is, before I introduce you, Crimea, even being a part of Ukraine, has a very sizable population of Crimean Tatars who were deported from their homeland when the Soviet Union was run by Stalin, and they only started coming back to their homeland after Ukraine became independent in 1991. And we have a representative of our Crimean Tatars here. She wants to say a few words. Her name is Melik Matsudoglu. Please.
Здравствуйте. Last Friday, I talked to a friend of mine in Bakhchisaray, and she said Ukrainian teachers were given notice until September. It was said, you don't need to teach any longer, your services are not needed. And Crimea is not a part of Russia yet, but there is a threat to Ukrainians. And why the Crimean Tatars and Ukrainians became a minority in our own land? Crimea was home for the Crimean Tatars. The Tatars had their Khanates from 1441 till 1783. Then Tsarina Katerina the Great took Crimea and became part of Russia. And she promised safety of lives, protection of livestock, use of language, practice of religion. Did anything happen? No. The promises were broken. Many Tatars had to flee their countries. And came the Crimean War. In 1876, after the war, many of the Crimean Tatars had to leave their house. They had to leave their homes. And since then, we became the minority in our own land. Then, in 1932-33, we all know the Holodomor. We went through the famine. We went through the starvation together. Millions of Ukrainians and the Tatars starved to death. And since then, we became the minority. With the deportation in 1944, 18th of May, in one night, the Tatars it was an ethnic cleanse. The Tatars were taken out of their homes in one night, put in the cattle trucks, deprivation of water, deprivation of food. Half of the nation died on the ways. And Russians brought from inlands of Russia, and they became the majority. And now they claim to be part of Russia, and we are Crimean Tatars with Ukrainian. We don't want to be part of Russia. We never forgot Sakharov, an Ukrainian nuclear engineer. We never forgot General Petro Grengoron. Ukrainian politician Taras Chornovil and Pavla Tuchinya. They are our friends. And we built monuments for them in front of the Crimean Tatar University. And during Kuchma, Ukrainians and Crimean Tatars lived peacefully. We were developing our civilization, we were building our civilization, we were living peaceful. When Yanukovych came to power, Mogalov was the Crimean Parliament president, started heavy Russification. We suffered a lot.